So since I started pursuing a career in data analytics, I have had quite a fair few interviews, and most of them have actually gone quite well. But there's been one interview in particular where I had quite a horrible experience due to an unprofessional recruiter. And from doing a bit of research, I noticed that this is actually a common theme in the job market. So I wanted us to discuss this so that if this sort of thing happens to you, you don't get discouraged on your pursuit of a new career, but you still continue to push regardless. So the other day I was browsing on LinkedIn and I saw a post that reminded me of my own experience, and I thought, you know what, a lot of people can relate to this, so I wanted to discuss it. So here's the post. So it goes, ghosted job candidate. So that tells you what we're about to discuss. So 5 months ago, she had 2 video interviews, 3 face-to-face interviews, then no response. Yeah. So imagine this: 2 video interviews and 3 face-to-face interviews. That's 5 interviews overall, but no response. Yeah. So just think about the amount of time you have to dedicate, things that you have to put aside to prepare for this. Anyway, the no response. She sent polite follow-up emails. In addition, she called and she left voice messages as well. Crickets, still no response. So she moved on and accepted another offer. Lucky for her, she even had another offer that she can accept. But most people, that's not even the case. So suddenly the company calls to tell her she's been hired. What? After 5 months, now you're calling me to tell me that I've been hired. Naturally, she was more confused and aggravated, but she politely said no. So here's what the person that put the post had to share on this. So she said, here's the thing: ghosting candidates is rude and unprofessional behavior. Plus, subjecting candidates to multiple rounds of interviews is exhausting enough to not hear a result. Employers, once a candidate grants of their time to be interviewed, they deserve a feedback. Is that too much to ask? No excuses. A little respect and empathy goes a long way. Agree? Certainly. Yes, I agree. So this post reminded me of my own experience. So here's what I experienced. So roughly about a month ago, I received a message from a recruiter on LinkedIn about a possible data analyst opportunity. And he basically said if I was interested, I should send over my CV. And I looked at it, it sounded good. So yeah, I sent over my CV and I wanted a bit more information about the role so that, I can make a decision or whatnot. So he sent me another email saying that he will call me tomorrow to discuss the next stages of the process. I said, okay, no problem. So the next day I was at work. So as you guys already know, I work on the train. So I was on the train while he called me and we were going through tunnels and stuff. So it was quite difficult to have a conversation because the line kept on breaking. But, we managed to get the conversation done. And the conversation wasn't anything serious. He basically just told me about the job, what it requires. And he basically said I have to go into office maybe once or twice a week. And he told me the salary and stuff, and it sounded good. And he asked me if I was interested, and I said, yeah, it sounds interesting. What do I have to do next? He said, okay, I'll send you the next part of the process tomorrow. So the next day comes, and I'm waiting and waiting, and nothing is coming through. So I reached out to him again about, updates on the conversation we had. So when I didn't hear back from him, I thought, okay, is he ghosting me? But then he couldn't have possibly ghosted me because the conversation we had, you can't basically, based on the conversation we had, you can't go someone based on that because we didn't really go in depth. He didn't ask me anything about my experiences. It was just more about the job and whether I was interested. So I reached out to him and I said, you know what, I haven't heard anything back since the conversation we had. And he said, oh, he's going to send me some details. So he sent me a task that I had to do, and it was quite a lengthy task. So he sent me an Excel task where I had to analyze some data, prepare like a long PowerPoint presentation, which I was going to take with me to the interview to present to the hiring managers. And I said, okay, no problem, I'll do that. Obviously, when you're desperate, you do anything, will you? So it was quite a difficult period as well because I worked shift work and I was on a difficult shift pattern at that time. I was doing late shifts where I was finishing at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. and all sorts. And it was quite difficult to prepare, but I said, I'll do it. So I started working on it slowly, bit by bit. He even messaged me again to let me know that they've changed the plan of the interview. It's going to go like this now. I said, no problem. And while I was working on it and taking my time, he messaged me again to let me know that I have to send the slides over to him by 5 p.m. the day before the interview. And I didn't know that before, so I was taking my time. But now I have to sort of speed up a little bit. Again, no problem. So I did everything, and then I tried to negotiate the time for the interview. So they wanted me to do the interview at 11 a.m. and the day before I was finishing work at 2 a.m., which means I'm gonna get home about 3 a.m., which means I'll probably sleep about 4 a.m. So I'm not gonna be well rested. And when I'm not well rested, for me, it's very difficult to process information fast, and sometimes my brains will freeze when you ask me simple questions. So resting is very important. So I tried to say, can you push it to maybe 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. and he said, oh, you can't, it has to be 11 a.m. I said, okay, no problem. So I'll do that. So I went into this interview feeling very tired, not well rested at all. My eyes were bloodshot red, but I need this opportunity. So you have to do what you have to do. So yeah, did the presentation. They seemed like they liked the presentation, and also they asked me a few questions about my presentation. I think I answered most of them very well, apart from maybe one. There was one about segmentation where I struggled a little bit and they tried to guide me. But apart from that, I think the rest of them, I gave a good account of myself. So after the interview, they told me they will update me on whether I was successful or not. And I said, yeah, no problem. And also about the company as well. So I did a bit of research about the company. They're actually a reputable pharmaceutical company. It's actually a big organization, so I'm surprised it went the way it did. So a week went by, heard nothing. 2 weeks went by, heard nothing again. So I thought, okay, now I need to chase them up and find out what's going on, because they said they would, keep me updated well before that. So I reached out to the recruiter that gave me the opportunity in the first place. Nothing. He didn't reply. But before the interview, when we messaged each other, he replied to me. But that time, ghosted me. He didn't reply to me. I emailed him, no reply. I said, what's going on? So I thought, okay, let me actually message the actual company themselves, the hiring manager. So because they sent me a link via Teams, so I thought I'll use that email to try and reach out to them. So I reached out to them as well for an update on my interview. Still nothing. And it's been roughly about almost 2 months now, and I haven't heard anything. So, I, I put a lot into this interview because, I need this opportunity. I spent a lot of time, analyzing the data. Of course, even the data I had to analyze, I felt like it was someone's work that I was doing for free, but, I'm doing my full-time job. I'm doing 10-hour, 11-hour shifts, and then coming to analyze someone's data. And after doing all of that, they didn't even have the respect to even get back to me to let me know how it went. Yeah, I was tired, I had to neglect my family for a few days, no sleep, and when you don't have enough sleep as well, you get a bit funny. Sometimes you have mood swings even, I went through all of that. I did all of that, and just a simple email to let me know that, okay, maybe I wasn't successful. You can do that via an automated message, or you might even have a template of a message that you have written out already that you can send to candidates that were not successful. Just a bit of respect. Nothing. And that's the problem with the job market at the moment. They're putting people through several stages of interviews. There was another interview that I had so many rounds. Um, had a informal phone interview, passed that. Then I had to do an Excel assessment, very lengthy one. I spent days doing that while working full time, of course. Yeah, passed that one. Then after that, they said, oh, after that you get it'll be a face-to-face, a Teams interview. Prepared for that one, passed that one. After that, I'm thinking, okay, I've done the assessment already, I've done the interview already, so surely that's the end of it. They said, no, there's going to be another stage. You have to do an SQL assessment. I said, how many assessments do you want? So that's where I ultimately fell short and I didn't get through. But you have to go through so many hoops, jump through so many stages for one single opportunity, and just a message to say to update you, they can't even do that, or some feedback, and that's a big problem. So I did a bit of research to find out if this sort of thing is common with recruiters, and it turns out it's actually something that happens quite a lot, and it left me wondering, so what are people doing about this? Because I didn't know this sort of thing was going on till, I entered the job market again. I haven't been in the job market for maybe properly for about 5, 6 years now. So this is so new to me, but it's crazy what's going on. So for me, I believe maybe it's time we start to name and shame some of these recruiters, because this is not right. People are putting their blood, sweat, tears into these jobs, and you just not going to recognize them or show them respect just because they're a little bit desperate. So maybe on some of these social media platforms, we can name and shame them. This recruiter from this organization, I went through all these stages and they didn't even have the respect to even give me an update on how the interview went. It's maybe time we start doing that to them, because it's just not right. And I was looking for reasons why they do that, and apparently it's because, okay, some of them are a bit overworked, and they're under constant pressure and so on. But nowadays, who's not under pressure? Who's not overworked right now? It doesn't take long to prepare a simple, rejection template that you can send out to people that were not successful. Yeah, guys, that's really what I wanted to share. It really peed me off, this experience, because I put a lot into that interview for it to go the way it did. Have you experienced this sort of thing, and what did you do about it? Let me know that in the comment section below. But I'll leave it here for now. I've been Alex. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.